Hi, good afternoon everybody. Here's another Calvo Sporting video. I promised you that I'd try and pick up on some of the questions that you've been asking me, mainly people asking me kind of through social media. So here goes. So this one is about infield instruction. So lots of people believe that I am kind of a pioneer, dare I say it, of infield instruction. That's actually not true. There were lots of people doing infield instruction before I started kind of 20 years ago. I'm not going to lie, who I actually robbed the idea from was Simon Ward. So at that point in time, nearly 20 years ago, I was having a long conversation with him about how you can improve clients and how you can get clients to be much better shots. And what he was doing is basically what I'm doing now, which is he was teaching them on a shooting ground and then following them through into the field. So certainly not a pioneer of it. But having said that, I suppose you can ask, well, what does qualify you to speak about infield instruction? We as a business do somewhere between 400 and 500 days a year standing with people. We have a group of people a group of instructors, many of them full-time, that have been through a Calvo Sporting training course to enable them to teach like I do. Okay, and what that allows us to feed lots of information back in every year, once a year, if not twice a year. We all get back together. Okay, we run through different things we've learned, different experiences we've had, to try and keep our standards as high as possible. Me personally, for the last 10 to 15 years, I've done on average about 100 days a season. I have done more. My biggest season I did 121 days, which nearly killed me. So I think it's something that I can speak with a degree of confidence about, let's put it like that. I think the other interesting thing is to say is where infield instruction seems to have become a very sexy thing to do, so to speak. Everybody, I look on social media and loads of people are offering infield instruction. I'm actually the opposite. I'm wanting to do less. So this is not about promoting myself, okay, to do more infield instruction. If I can, I want to try and get my infield days down to about 60, which seems to be a bit of a struggle at the moment, but that's where I'm aiming to be. Just I don't want to be away from home as much, and the miles are killing. So, right, what are the benefits of infield instruction and what are we trying to do? I think the first thing I would say to you is I tend to categorise my clients into 4 different distinct varieties. So the first of those would be novices and youngsters. So we teach a lot of novice clients and a lot of youngsters. So what we're doing on those infield days is we're above all keeping them safe. We're teaching them etiquette. We're making sure that they shoot the right thing. Nothing too low, nothing that's out of range. Okay, we're teaching them to be responsible game shooters. That is absolutely paramount, and one of my core beliefs in the whole infield instruction is etiquette is everything. And that etiquette, by the way, can stretch from, what do I tip the keeper, to what do I wear, you name it, I've been asked it. But what I find is the more comfortable that person is in the field, the more confident they will be, the better they'll perform. So it's really important to make sure that they've got everything that they need. So that's the novices and youngsters. The next category, so to speak, would be what I call my really busy people. Now, my really busy people can not just be UK based, but they can often be foreign, in that Europe or US. And those are the guys that, if I'm honest, and girls for that matter, that can't really get lessons with me very easily. Yes, I do go to other countries and do lessons, but it's actually quite tough. Okay, so what we're doing on those days, we're trying to improve the enjoyment of those clients. We're trying to make those clients perform to the best of their ability on that day. The slight downside to that can often mean that what we're doing is we're shortcutting, we're sticking plasters over cuts and bits and bobs. We're trying to make the best out of what we possibly can. What you really want to do is take that client to a shooting ground, okay, improve their base skills that ultimately will lead to them improving much quicker, and they become much more competent as a shot. So that probably leads us on to the last 2 categories, and I'll give you them both together because they're slightly run alongside each other. The third is what I would refer to as the safe but not as good as they want to be shot. And when I say not as good as they want to be, lots of people would stand with some of my clients and go, holy smoke, Adam, why are you stood with this guy? He's amazing. Or equally, why are you stood with this lady? If I shot like her, I think all my Christmases would come at once. So it's competitiveness with themselves, how good they want to be. The fourth category is my grouse clients, which I'll come on to in a minute. So an ideal route for me really is to try and make sure that we, with that particular client who wants to improve their shooting, I spend time on a shooting ground with them, okay? And what I'm trying to do on that shooting ground, I'm trying to improve their basic foundations and their basic techniques. I think what's vital is that, you can take a client onto a shooting ground and they can smash every single clay, but not really have a clue how they've done it. What I'm trying to get the client to do is actually be able to see a proper process and a technique as to how they've achieved that kill. Okay, so they have a full understanding of it. Okay, I will question that client quite hard when I'm teaching on shooting grounds to make sure they can relate to me and tell me exactly how they've just achieved that kill. What were they looking at when they squeezed the trigger? And many of you will be thinking, well, that's obvious, they were looking at the bird. Not always, okay? Perhaps we'll come on to that another time. So, there's all that kind of stuff going on. So what I want to try and make sure is that they've got a good base, and then I will follow those clients into the field to try and make sure that we transfer the skills from the shooting ground into the shooting field. So it's the same skills they're using. Often what I find, you put lots of those clients or lots of new clients to me into the field, you have a look at them, and that bears no relevance to what I see on the shooting ground. They are just two totally different people. Okay, so that's something to think about. So my final category is my grouse people. So something that I've become quite well known for is teaching people how to shoot grouse. And I think that is a whole different set of skill sets. So I use different techniques. So, for example, I often intercept shoot a lot of stuff. I'll cut stuff off. I'll do all sorts of different stuff in my grouse shooting, okay, which I wouldn't normally teach on my pheasants and partridges. There's also massive different safety aspects that I need to cover. So the grouse clients tend to be very much a client base, for want of a better word, on their own. And let's not hide away from the fact, grouse shooting is extremely expensive, so people want to shoot as well as they possibly can, so they feel like they're getting as much benefit and enjoyment out of it. But let's put the grouse guys to one side, because they're a pretty specialist market. So coming back to the what I call the guys who are wanting and girls that are wanting to improve, what am I actually teaching them? So once we've got them safe, once we've got them competent, once we've got them, okay, so they're comfortable or confident in their environment, then what I'm teaching them bird selection, okay, so they need to know which bird to select, okay, which bird is going to come to them, what impact that wind is that's coming straight across the front of the drive, where is that going to mean their birds are coming from, all those sorts of things. The actual timing, far too often when I'm stood watching people shoot, their timing will be either they'll shoot at the bird way too early, okay, or they'll shoot at the bird way too late. Either way, what I often find is they actually make the decisions at the wrong time. That's the key thing about timing, is when do you make decision to actually act upon making that shot. So once we've been through those two, then I would say come down to what I refer to as the foundations. The foundations to me are the gun fit, gun mount and footwork, okay? So I want to make sure that that whole movement looks like it should do, so it should emulate exactly what we've seen on the shooting ground. It should be totally in control, it shouldn't be rushed, you shouldn't be out of breath, all those different things. It should look totally smooth. Then we kind of move on to the whole actual technique itself. So, if we're shooting a medium-high pheasant, how are they going to actually shoot that? What, are they going to maintain lead it? What are they going to do? How are they going to deal with it? Okay, everybody's different. Okay, so everybody uses different things. To say that you can use one particular method on those types of bird, for me, is a lie, because as I say, we're all individuals and we all need to shoot them a different way. I have a preferred method, okay, but that doesn't mean I'll enforce it on a particular client. And then last but not least, what we're really doing is we're almost giving immediate feedback to the client to say where they missed the bird. So were they behind it, were they in front of it, were they over the top of it, etc., etc. And what that, in my mind, allows the client to do is very quickly build what I call lead pictures and site pictures. Where do they need to be on particular birds? Okay. Now, I think one of the things that I want to be very clear on is, for me, infield, less is always more. I might say 10 words to a client on a drive, okay? Because if I'm having to pick the bird for the client, tell them where the bird's going to go, tell them exactly how to shoot it, tell them what lead to give it, okay, all those different things. To me, the client's learning absolutely nothing. What I'm actually doing, I'm shooting the bird. The client's just following my instructions, and as a result, he's not learning from it. Okay, so if you've got somebody yabbering away in your ear all the time, okay, to me that's definitely not my method. What's really important is the client needs to make mistakes, okay, but then understand at the end of the drive or in a quiet period in the drive what mistakes they made and what led to them making that mistake. Okay, so I think it's a really important way that we teach is infield. It's not like I'm 24/7 at you, and also you just can't take it all in. Anybody who can take that amount of information in is far more intelligent than me, that is for certain. I like very clear, precise instructions, and you need to, by looking at your client, you need to have worked out what those instructions need to be very carefully. I think what we're probably moving on to is, what should I look for in an infield coach? To me, it is experience, 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 experience. Simple as that. The more birds that person or that instructor has seen shot, and that's not so much shooting themselves. There is no question in my mind that shooting themselves is an important part, but actually, more importantly, how many different clients have they had to deal with to try and get them to kill pheasants and partridges and grouse and all those sorts of things. Again, experience, experience, experience. You cannot beat it. And again, just like we said in one of my previous videos, don't be frightened to pick the phone up and interrogate some of these guys. What have they done? Where have they been? Where have they gone? Okay, I think that's really, really important. Don't get me wrong. I would be the first to admit that my grouse instruction has improved tenfold, okay, in the last 5 years, because I've been shooting quite a lot of grouse. So I've been extremely fortunate, and trust me, everything happens very differently when you're suddenly on the gun versus standing behind somebody. Okay, so that allows me to bring that experience to that client of what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. Okay, so being able to shoot, it is an important part of infield coaching. People often ask me, how come the majority of your boys that you employ are from Yorkshire? If the truth be known, because Yorkshire and the Northumberland area is where I will come across people who have huge experience of shooting grouse and pheasants themselves and instruction. And my point being is that infield knowledge is something I can't give them. It takes years to build. Okay, so somebody who suddenly, is 1 minute shooting a few clays to next minute giving infield lessons, he's probably not your man or your lady. So I think it's really important to look for that. But again, don't be frightened to pick the phone up and chat to people. If they don't give you the right vibes, don't use them, simple as that. One of the things that so many of you have asked me about is, and I think that's partially because they see me doing it in field, is filming themselves in field. So I think you need to be very, very careful how you do this, and you'll see some of the stuff that I post on Instagram. Okay, what I'm actually, and I frequently do this, by the way, I frequently film clients, but when I say I film clients, I will film clients almost from a side shot, so you can see exactly what's happening here, okay? And what I'm looking for their head position, I'm looking for their footwork, I'm looking for their timing, I'm looking for how they mount the gun. Does the muzzle tip away from the bird as the bird's coming in? All these different things. So I'm often videoing what's going on here, what I refer to the foundations. What I'm not videoing is the awesome kill shot that they've just pulled off. To me, that's pointless. That's the, that's your kind of, it actually means nothing to the client and is useless. So that's more use to the instructor that he can use it on social media. I think that it's one thing. You need to be incredibly respectful, and we need to be incredibly cautious of social media and posting, filming of different things on social media. So again, I would urge caution, but I make no secret, I use video a lot to video the clients, but I'm not really interested whether they're killing or missing. I can probably tell whether they're killing or missing from actually what the client looks like when they're shooting. So that kind of brings it on to cost. Everybody wants to know how much we cost. It's dead simple, okay? So I, in a normal day, if I'm teaching on a shooting ground, will teach 6 lessons a day, 3 clients, okay? I just believe that I do all 2-hour slots. They're actually 2.5 hour. What that allows us to do is have an hour, 45-50 minutes shooting, have half an hour break, and then have another hour. That's what I do, 3 clients a day. Having done 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, you just can't, your brain melts down and your last 2 clients don't get the best of you, so to speak. So if you work out what those slots will cost, that just equates straight to exactly what an infield day would cost. Okay, it's that simple. So if I have an hourly rate, it's X, I just timed it by 6, okay, and that's the infield cost. That's what I would say, or how you need to work out whether you're getting value for money from your instructor. There seems to be lots and lots of competition in the market at the moment. I'm frequently asked, will I do things for free because other instructors are doing things for free? Let me be very clear. We're a very commercial business, and it is 100% we will charge you because I feel that the service that I'm giving you is worth every penny of it. So all those wanting to do it for free, what they're wanting to do, they're actually wanting to improve their own knowledge. They should actually be paying you, in my view. I suppose the last thing I would leave you with is, for me, the big thing about infield that I've learned, it is the ultimate way to fast track your game shooting. Okay, so if you want to improve your game shooting quickly, there is no better way. I'll run through that again, i.e. on a shooting ground, understand what that instructor wants you to do, get that instructor, the same instructor, to follow you into the field. By the way, lots of people ask, should I have a loader as well as an instructor? It depends on the individual instructors. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. In a grouse book, for example, I found if you're not careful, it can get quite crowded, okay? Depends how much that client wants the information from you, okay? If it's a busy day, then I'll definitely have a loader as well so I can watch the client shoot, okay? But as I say, on a shooting ground, understand what that instructor wants from you, then into the field, okay, and get them to progress slowly with you, okay? You don't need to have them every time, okay? You need to, have time to think and work it out for yourself. I'm a massive believer that you shouldn't start and treat your instructor like a comfort blanket. So you cannot shoot unless they're with you. So it's very important that you build a kind of rapport with the instructor that allows you to decide whether you take them or not. With one exception, I hasten to add, with the grouse stuff. So with the grouse stuff, I genuinely believe that you build a relationship with that instructor that makes you almost like a little team, okay? And that will definitely lead to you killing more grouse just because of little things, the client shoots right and left in front and is just about to turn, okay, to go out the back, and you can call, stay forward, there's more coming. Just little tips like that where it builds a relationship. If you look at most of the, I'm not going to call them professional grouse shots, but the more capable grouse shots, they'll always use the same loader. I hope that was helpful. Lots of questions coming in. I will do my best to answer them all, okay, and I hope that was enjoyable.